everyone, and welcome to the Kronos Timekeeper training session, how to record your time worked for Group 2 non-exempt timestamp employees. Okay, so right now what you're seeing is the Kronos Timekeeper website for employees. But before I get into how to record your time, I first want to go over the different types of employees for the purposes of recording time worked. Because depending on what group you fall into is going to determine how you record your time worked. We do have different recorded training sessions for the different groups of employees on how to record your time. So just so we know what group we are in, I just want to go over the groups real quick so that you can determine that. Okay, so group 1 are your exempt employees. All exempt employees are in group 1. Group 2, which is what we're going to be going over today, right now, is the non-exempt timestamp employees. And group 3 are your non-exempt troopers, cadets, CBI agents, and non-exempt firefighters. Basically, all of your 7K exempt employees that are on a 28-day cycle. So how do you know what group you're in? Well, that's pretty easy. Group 1 are exempt employees. Exempt means that you do not get paid for overtime, nor do you accrue comp time. So if I'm an exempt employee and I work 48 hours this week, I'm still only going to get paid for 40 hours because I am FLSA exempt. Group 3 are non-exempt troopers, cadets, CBI agents, and non-exempt firefighters. If you are on a 28-day cycle, you are in group 3. So if I'm not in group 1 and I am not in group 2, if I'm not in group 1 and I am not in group 3, then I am automatically in group 2. And this is the group that we're going to be talking about in this training session. So group 2 non-exempt timestamp employees, you are going to be recording your time by punching in and punching out, or stamping in and stamping out every day. The terms are interchangeable. You will be approving your time card on a weekly basis, and you will not be able to edit your time card at all. So you have to make sure that you log into the site and punch in and punch out every day that you work. You will also be submitting time off requests. One thing that Group 2 non-exempt timestamp employees need to be aware of is the 7-8 minute rule. So when you punch in the morning and punch out in the afternoon, that's going to be based on the time that you punch in and punch out. But if you punch in 7 minutes before your shift, it's going to round up to the nearest 15-minute increments because time is recorded in 15-minute increments. So depending on when you punch in and punch out, the system is going to automatically round up or round down to the nearest 15-minute increment. So say, for example, I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So if I punch in at 7:53 in the morning, Kronos Timekeeper is going to show that I punched in at 8 o'clock because it's going to round up to 8 o'clock. Now, if I punch in at 7:52 in the morning, it's going to round down to show that I punched in at 7:45 in the morning. So, and likewise for when I punch out in the afternoon. So depending on when I punch in and punch out, I might be in a situation where I get unapproved overtime, or the opposite, I might have to submit a time off request and use annual leave or something similar to make up for time that I need to make up for because the system rounded up. Okay, so there's something that you definitely need to be aware of is the 7-8 minute rule for Group 2 non-exempt timestamp employees. Okay, so now that we understand that, I want to go into the system and show you where you're going to punch in and out. So over here in the My Timestamp window in the My Workspace area, I'm going to go ahead and pop that out to show you guys this. So over here we have the Record Timestamp button. So when you punch in the morning, you are going to log in and click this button. And when you log out in the afternoon, you're going to log in and click this button. And that's going to record your timestamp. Now, one thing to note, Kronos Timekeeper does know your schedule. Your schedule has been uploaded into the system based on the information provided by your supervisor. So the system does know if you take a lunch break or not. So you do not need to punch in and punch out for your lunch break. So again, for example, I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and I get an hour lunch break. However, I don't need to punch out at 12 o'clock and punch in at 1 p.m. I only need to punch in at 8 a.m. and punch out at 5 p.m. The system already knows that I take a lunch break, so it will go ahead and deduct that from my hours worked for the work period. So something else I want to show you guys is this drop down that says transfer. Now, most of you will not be using this, but if you have hours that have to be recorded for a grant, this is how you're going to do it for the time being. Effective December 1st, we are going to have a new module called the Activities module, which we'll be using to record grant information. And but for the time being, until that module has been constructed and completed and ready for use, which is slated to happen on December 1st of 2016, until then we are going to be using the Kronos Timekeeper system to record that in this manner. So if I have time that I need to record to a certain grant, I can click on this grant. So apparently Henry Adams has been using this grant a lot. I can also click on the search button and find a different one if I wanted to. So I could click on location 1 and click on OK. And I can record time to that grant in this manner. Okay. So very quickly, I do want to go over the time card, because this is going to populate on your time card. So I'm going to pop out the time card real quick to show you guys. Okay. So over here you can see the different dates, and then the schedule column. The in and out columns, Henry Adams has not been punching in and out lately, so these are blank, but these will be populated based on your punches through the My Timestamp. Okay, so you'll be able to see what time the system rounded to in these two columns right here. So the transfer column, so we talked about the transfer drop down in the My Timestamp earlier. So if you recorded grant information, it would populate here in this column. The pay code column is basically for if you used any leave, so like annual leave or sick leave. If you submitted a time off request, it would show in this column. Now these four columns here will show the different amounts of hours or time that are recorded. So the amount column will show the amount of hours recorded for each individual line in the time card. The shift column will show the amounts worked for the shift. The daily column will show the amounts worked on the specific day, and the period column will show the amounts worked in that work period. So a few other things I want to show you about the time card. You can come up here and print the time card. You can also refresh the time card. Calculate totals and save will always be grayed out for you guys because you won't be able to use them because you cannot edit your time card at all. So they'll be there, but they will always be grayed out. You won't be able to click on them. This drop down right here, I can actually pick different periods of time that I want to see in the My Time card. So if I want to go to the previous pay period or week to date, last 30 days, I could click on any of those. Or I can also click on this calendar icon and I can input a start date and an end date and specifically view that time period in my time card. The other thing I want to show you is down here, this gray arrow. If I click on this, it will show me different totals. Right now, Henry Adams doesn't have anything in his time card, so there are no totals, but I can see the different totals down here and I can filter them by pay code or account. So it's another way to see your time card just in a more report format. I can also click on the accruals tab and see my leave balances down here as well. Now to approve my time card, Group 2 non-exempt employees will be approving their time cards on a weekly basis, just like everyone else. So up here, if you click on the approved time card drop down and click on approved time card, you see I have approved my time card and it turned this orange yellowish color. to show that I approved it. Now let's say, for example, I want to remove my approval because I forgot to submit a time off request or something. I can come up here and click on the approved time card drop down and then remove my time off, my time card approval, and then it turns back white. One thing to note about this is if you have approved your time card and your supervisor has approved your time card, you will not be able to make any changes after your supervisor has approved your time card. The only time you can remove your time card approval is if your supervisor has not approved your time card. So if you have approved your time card and your supervisor has approved your time card and you need to make changes to your time card, your supervisor is going to have to complete that for you. Okay, so we have just gone over how to timestamp in and timestamp out for Group 2 non-exempt timestamp employees, and that is how you record your time. We have also gone over how to approve your time card and also how to navigate the My Time Card window. So that concludes our training session for Group 2 non-exempt timestamp employees and how to record your time. Thank you very much for listening. If you guys have any questions, please do submit them via email to cdps_hr@state.co.us. That's the Human Resources Group inbox. Or you can call us at 303-239-4427 with your questions.